Hey, what's up, guys? ReZero episode 11, right? This is the last episode before, all of the breaks, and yeah, I'm saying all of the breaks, but it's actually just 2 months, right? 2 months of break, and then there will be 8 episodes left, right? First of all, I can't see, I can't see Subaru solving all of this in like 8 episodes, really, because there's so much stuff, right? Is it one question I have, right? Is this season like rushed or some shit? Because, you know, normally a season will have like a ReZero season will have like 25 episodes, right? And I need that right now. But it's like 19 episodes doesn't sound like so much, especially only 8 episodes left, right? But yeah, we start off where we left last time with Subaru and Bram thinking this guy's an imposter, right? And he is actually an imposter, you could say, but yeah. But Bram is just crazy. But yeah, then we have Emilia caging him in. But yeah, what Bram thinks is like, you know, she thinks this guy's an maybe a archbishop or gluttony or some shit because they have the ability to transform to another person, right? So yeah, man, this guy's going through hell, right? And yeah, then he suddenly blacks out again. So whoever took over is like Gluttony, right? Gluttony took over and just wrote Subaru was here on the walls. But the question is like, how much time has passed between him blacking out and then waking up, right? Was it like a flash, like a couple minutes, and what the fuck? Like he passed out, right? And Emilia, we don't see Ram actually, but Emilia is still alive. So what the hell happened in that time frame? Yeah, what the hell happened in that time frame? And was it not enough to only write Subaru's name one time? Or was the reason to all write it all over the place? And yeah, later on we see, the big ass scorpion with Shawl and Zone, right? At first I was kind of confused because I was like, there's really no rules that has been broken, right? There's really nobody who left the tower, right? But yeah, it's actually, I think it's actually because the walls have been carved out, right? Has been damaged, you could say, right? So maybe that's the reason she just flips out. Doesn't really make sense, right? Just start killing everybody because there's carvings on the walls. But yeah, and then we have this guy. Doesn't really make sense. Why the fuck is he just roaming around? And what made him go outside his room, right? Doesn't really make sense. And this guy's fucking big too. Bro, he's fucking big and massive. But yeah, and remember last time also there was like this smoke coming and the tower being destroyed. It happens also. It also happened this time. But yeah, then we have Julius fighting. And what's the reason as to why there's so many damn Maupies all over the place? Doesn't really make sense. They weren't there before. Is it because Shala is commanding them or some shit? But yeah, Julius is fighting them. And yeah, last time, some comments made apparent for me that, when Super Red Melee's book, right? He basically became a part of her, right? That's why I was kind of confused in the line. This bastard is trying to cover up my death. Was actually, man, this guy has so many people in his mind right now, right? But yeah, it's actually mainly he's basically also mainly right because he, when you read somebody's book, it's like living, basically living with them, or basically becoming a part of them, right? And that's actually why he's seeing her so much because she's has become a part of him, right? But yeah, but as I said last time, the thing that also made me confused was like how easy it was to find her book, right? They said that there's a book for every person that has died, right? And suddenly you find her book out of the blue. It doesn't really make sense. But yeah, man, I need to. But this guy is just smiling, right? But he quickly changes his opinion to save Julius. And it's crazy no matter what, Gluttony tries to, what I think it is, right? Gluttony tries to mentally break Super right by, controlling his body and so on. Yeah, controlling his body and so on made him to make him believe that he's somebody completely else. But yeah, but I remember, you know, man, it's a good episode, right? But these people on the internet, man, they're just hyping this episode to be like one of the craziest shit you will ever see, right? But yeah, it's a good episode, but when you overhype it too much, it's like, man, calm down, right? Because I believe episode 15 and 18 is still better than this, right? I don't believe it's the best episode, right? And I think episode 23 also was, I think, is better. The one with, yeah, 23, I mean, season 2, right? But yeah, still not a bad episode, right? But when you overhype it so much, it's like you have some crazy expectations, and then suddenly, yeah, you get what I mean, right? But yeah, Julius fighting Reed again, and this guy's going to get beat up, man. But yeah, but it's like what the hell happened in the time frame where Subaru just passed out? Did he just pass out and Ram and Emilia were able to run away from him, or what? Doesn't really make sense. Or did they get transported to another place or whatever? Man. But yeah, they're fighting. And yeah, what's the reason as to why this guy Reed suddenly was like, oh, I need to get out. I have some unfinished business or some shit. What made him do that, right? Was it maybe because Charlotte was going crazy? Uh, Maybe it was like, oh, I need to go out or some shit. Maybe he has to buy some new clothes or something. But yeah, but I don't really get it. But yeah, how long is Mailing going to be living in this guy's head? Is it like something that's going to be permanent, like Betelgeuse and, you know, what is it called? Betelgeuse and the guy Greed? But yeah, I actually like Betelgeuse more than a Regulus, right? Way more. It was a way better villain for me actually, but yeah, Greed was like I didn't really care about that guy, man. But yeah, and then he runs around. Beatrice finds him, right? Yeah, she's like, get the hell away from this guy, man. He's not Subaru. But yeah, hey, he just flips out because he's like, what? Because he's the season one Subaru, right? He just flips out. That is like, what the hell are you guys talking about, and so on. But one, I'll say from this arc, one critique I'll say is like, you know, I won't say the arc is boring, right? But seeing season one Subaru all over again is like, we have already seen this shit, right? We already seen him grow away from this kind of version of himself, right? So it's more so like, when he flips out and so on. We have already seen this, right? So it's kind of, I'll not say boring, but the whole memory thing and so on is, when you watch other animes and so on, when people lose their memories and so on, it's kind of like, oh man, get to it, right? Yeah, kind of the same thing I feel here, right? I'm not saying it's bad, right? But yeah, this guy thinks he's in hell, right? He's getting punished. And one of the saddest, things was like when he first came here. I mean in Arc 6, right? When he first came here, and he went off to what's it called, Reed's room, right? And yeah, he basically got pushed down, and he was like, and the last thing he was thinking about was his parents, right? He was like, I didn't watch the goddamn cop or some shit. He was like, fuck. I was kind of sad because you know he really isn't a bad person, right? But those regrets, yeah, yeah. And then he can't let go of, Echidna, not Beatrice, but Echidna, right? Because he says, as he says, Julius asked me to. What I expected actually was, I was kind of wrong here, right? Because I was thinking like, okay, this guy just lost his memory and he's like the season one Super all over again, right? So this guy may try to follow the same steps he followed, from season one, and maybe this guy will hate, will come to hate Julius. But yeah, what I forgot to remember was like Julius has grown to like, right? So there's really no reason for him to hate Julius because Julius is like the nice guy now, right? In his perspective, yeah, yeah. And this is such a weird scene, right? As I said earlier, right? Just Charlotte transforming, and she can't control it, right? And what's interesting in this form, right, is it looks like she doesn't really have, consciousness or can control herself. She's just like a mindless beast, right? And what really doesn't make sense is like after Echidna attacks her, right? She just goes away. Is it maybe because she's she's just a mindless beast, right? So as soon as she gets attacked, maybe she just tries to run away. But what really doesn't make sense also is like last time we see her transform, right? We see her transform, and then that's when Super walks up the stairs, right? And then he finds her real body. He doesn't find the scorpion body, right? So is it because she got killed before she could fully transform, or is it something else? Yeah, yeah, because he found her real corpse. Yeah, but yeah, but what? And is her body just a big explosion? Yeah, a big bomb or some shit? Because as soon as her body got hit by a rock or Anastasia stepped into it, they just blew away, right? But yeah, what's so funny is like this is the third time half her body was just just taken away from her. Doesn't really make sense. But yeah, and she's like, you have done enough, and so on. It's enough, you've done enough, all of this shit. But yeah. But this is, super window from not trusting these guys to finding out, these guys really liking him, so on, right? But yeah, and she just, yeah, just dies. And he's thinking about finishing her off, but it's like, what's so sad about, Subaru is like, no matter what this guy, goes through, it's so hard for him to kill somebody, even though this guy has died like 100 times, right? This guy can't kill people, right? So yeah. And what's also different is like this guy is talking in third person, right? Because he can't really recognize the other version of himself, right? Because there's so many versions people are pushing to him, right? And he doesn't really know what to believe. But yeah, and Sasala again. Yeah, what's the reason as to why she came out over here? Is it because he said he doesn't love himself, or because the tower is getting destroyed or something? But yeah, this is it also the first time we see so many hands coming out of her? But yeah, then Emilia comes. Oh shit. Then Emilia comes, right? Man, what I don't understand is like, after all of this, is he going to get his memories back? And isn't he basically going to become two different people now? Because I can't really explain it, right? But when he gets his memories back, this version is this version just going to live inside of his head too now, or do they kind of join together and become a whole new different kind of person? But yeah, then Emilia comes, and this is like the episode 18, right? Just different kind of setting. But yeah, where the fuck is Ram, and what the fuck happened in the room where he was with them, right? He was with them and suddenly blacked out. Why did, you know, if this was Gluttony taking over his body, what is the reason as to why he didn't kill them, right? And Gluttony too. How the fuck are they able to? How will they come to beat the Gluttony, right? Because Gluttony is not only one person, and they are strong as fuck too, right? There are three different kinds of Gluttony, and I don't see Subaru beating them all three, right? I can understand, Rui and Subaru going against each other, but you know, the other two, maybe Ram or Julius. Nah, Julius is going to fight the guy Reed, right? So is it going to be Emilia and Ram, or yeah, whatever? But this guy is just flipping out. But yeah, what I don't understand is like, it's kind of amazing, really, how calm you could be in this situation. Like you have, because in their perspective, this guy just woke up and just lost all of his memories, right? And now he's suddenly explaining to her how everybody just died, and she's just very calm, right? But yeah, and he can't remember all of this stuff. But as what is very funny is like he doesn't really believe he's capable of doing all of this stuff, right? Saving all of these people and becoming a hero and so on, right? And even getting a girl like her, right? He even says she's out of my league, right? But it's kind of, you know, he later accepts it, right? But it's kind of amazing, really, because we as people we don't really know how much we are capable of, right? Because we really undermine ourselves and our potential, right? He doesn't really believe he can do all of this stuff, but he can. He actually did it, right? But yeah, and what's so funny is like they see this kind of perfect version of himself, right? Because they don't see all of the timelines where this guy just fucked it all up. And what I think one of my favorite things about ReZero is like we see the all of the messed up timelines. It's like the world is ending and he needs to start over, right? So we see all of the messed up stuff. Yeah. So what I really liked about season one also is like, when he made the correct choice, n- a different choice, I mean, right? And a different choice led to a different ending, right? So, what I'm thinking about is the case with Rem, right? Where there was a mansion killer and he thought he was stay safe, right? And then he just found out that Rem died. So yeah, and with Rem also, it's like, whoa, she has been gone for so long. It's like, do we really need her back? It's like because that's also maybe one of those things where it's like she has been gone for so long. It's like, uh, okay, she comes back, and now what, right? Because she's basically all the way back in season at the end of season one. She weren't really in the sanctuary and so on, right? And is she even going to back to her full memories, or is she like kind of wakes up and it's like, oh, I can't really remember much, or is she going to be a completely different person? But yeah, but what I say is I don't, what I say is this episode was really about this self-acceptance, right? Him owning up to becoming the, meeting up to the expectations people have of him, right? Yeah, yeah, the expectations of people having of him. But is this going to be the last death he's going to have? Because how many times did he die as of right now? I can't really remember. I think five now. He died at two times before going to the tower. He died in the cave, right? So three before he got his memories taken. It was three deaths, right? And after his memories got taken, it was also three, I think, right? Or two. So four to five times he died, right? And I know he's going to die more than season one and two, right? So at least more than 10 deaths. But is he going to? Because those deaths, right? Is it going to be those deaths where he's because now he's more determined, right? Is it going to be those because now he has a motive, right? He wants to save these people because he actually knows these people care about him, even though he doesn't really remember them, right? But is it more so like remember when he wanted a date with Emilia, right? He kind of had this motivation, right? Is this that's going to be more so I died, I need to try again, or is it more like the episode 15 that's where he was like, I need to give up? Is he going to give up after this, or is it going to be uphill from this moment? But yeah, I'm trying to go forward, but yeah, the website is really not working with me. But yeah, what I really miss is like, I'm not saying this arc is bad, right? But yeah, what I really miss is like, first of all, one of the things that I'll say, took some enjoyment out of, you know, this season was like, first of all, I got some spoilers, right? I can be honest. But one of those things was like, people overhyped this so much. Is like, I remember, before, another series was like Breaking Bad, if you guys know about it, right? Of course you know about Breaking Bad. It's like, but yeah, people overhyped Breaking Bad so fucking much, and when I watched it, it was good, right? But they overhyped it to some. For me, it's like when you overhype something, even though it's good, my expectations are somewhere else, right? So yeah, but it's still a good season. I don't. There's really not, boring sequences, right? But yeah, and what's going to happen from here? Because obviously now he wants to save them and so on, but he just respawned, right? So is he going to act a certain way now, or is he going to be honest and say his memories was taken? Because when he says his memories was taken, when when he finally says that, are they still going to trust him? And yeah, kind of reminds me of season one when he jumped down the cliff, right? And he was like, I need to save these guys, but yeah, they still didn't trust him at the mansion. But that's also one of those negative or bad things I want to say about this season. Is like, it could be too much of the same things that has already happened, right? I'm not saying, this. I'm saying that his character growth has already happened, and we're experiencing it again. You get what I'm saying? Because it's good to see, right? But it's also, kind of predictable how his character growth is going, right? I can't really put it to words, but it's like we have already seen him have this kind of moment, and he has it again. It's good, but it's like he already has had this moment, but it's ah, you know. So it's like, yeah, man. Now I had to wait like 2 months for the new episode, man. It's like, what? 2 months. Not only that, I'm thinking about the future, right? After those episodes are done, now we need the new seasons, right? And we know ReZero is like, it takes so long for the new seasons to come, man. It's like crazy. It's like crazy, but yeah. And is this season kind of rushed? Because some people say there's some cut content and so on. But yeah, this guy is obviously going to fight, not physically, maybe I don't know, but this guy's going to fight Rui, right? I'll say the matchups right now is like this guy is going to fight Rui. He's already doing that right now, right? And Emilia is going to be the one passing the trials, right? So she's going upstairs to this big ass dragon, and we don't know what the last test is right, and we still don't know if this guy's plan is still in action, right? The plan he had when he went to the library, yeah. But yeah, And Ram is obviously, she needs also to fight one of the gluttonies, or maybe both. Is going to fight both of the last remaining gluttonies. Sh- But yeah, is she maybe going to fight her Rem? Because Rem is possessed, right? So she may have to fight, Rem or Rem's body. I mean, but yeah, and Judas and Reed, and maybe is going to fight Shola or some shit if she goes crazy again. And yeah, we still don't know about this guy Flu, man. But yeah, but so far it's good. But I'll still rank season one above, this season right now, as of right now. But yeah, is there any more else I want to say? Uh, I really don't know, man. But yeah, see you guys.